Hi guys, Spartan765 here today. Today I'm doing a video that I've been asked quite a bit by a lot of people. A few personal messages and a lot of comments on different videos. And the question is, are you a prepper? You know, do you prepare for a natural disaster or governmental collapse or whatever? Okay, let me just point it out. I am not a hardcore prepper. I would be if I had the money to, but I'm a broke-ass college student, so don't really have the money for that. But as far as like just preparing for like a natural disaster or something like that, or just being well prepared, having food and, you know, water and clothes in the house in case of a where you need a bug in because of like a big blizzard or something like that, or, you know, a flood, a tsunami, or not a tsunami, like a hurricane, or wherever you live. You know, personally I think it's just a good idea for everybody to have, you know, at least, you know, a 2 weeks food supply in your house. Now, you know, nowadays people have, they say 3 days worth of food in their house on average. And that all depends on where you live. If you live in the city, like, your average city person is probably going to have 3 days of food in the house. And you go out to the country, out to your grandparents' house or whatever, you know, people who've been living in the country their whole life, it's not uncommon to see several pantries packed full of canned goods and just everything, where they have like a year's supply on hand, and they're not even preppers. They just, you know, that's just the way they live. But I'm going to go over a few things that I think are really important to have in the case of an emergency, and then I'll also go over some bug out stuff. Now, my bug out, what I would bring if I needed to bug out, and this is not, you know, a walking bug out. This is not, you know, like, I'll go over the bug out bag, like, let's say, like, no cars work anymore, or the roads are congested, or you decided to wait before you bugged out and you had to walk. I'll go over that bug out bag in a different video. This bug out that I'm talking about is literally with the truck and everything I would bring with, assuming you wouldn't be able to come back, like, and let's just put a hypothetical out there, like the power shuts off because of a cyber attack, which is a real possibility, and that is a actual, you know, thing that could happen, that could, you know, in this day and age cause, you know, mass panic because people will go crazy without electricity. You know, I'm going to go over, you know, what I would bring with in the truck, you know, in a whole to last, you know, a few weeks, and I'm going to go explain why I bring all that stuff with. Alright, first off, I'm just going to, you know, go over some of the stuff, you know, I have for basic, you know, bugging in, you know, that prepping style, and just being prepared for a disaster situation. Keep in mind, you know, this is not a complete, you know, or anything. This is just something, you know, I buy a few things for here and there. Nothing, you know, that I go out and, you know, spend a paycheck on or anything like that. Alright, here we go. Alright, we're starting out. You know, I think it's a good idea, like I said here. Everybody should have, you know, a good 2 weeks food supply. I think this is, you know, maybe a little bit more than a 2 week supply of food. It's a lot of canned stuff that's, you know, I'm a big fan of canned fish, you know, stuff that's high in omega-3 fatty acids will give you energy. Anything with a lot of carbohydrates, protein. I love corned beef hash. I eat that all the time. Well, not all the time. If I ate it every day, I'd probably weigh a bit more. But this is excellent for survival food. It's got starches and stuff in it, protein, corned beef. If you like that, you got, you know, if you like, you know, baked beans, they're good. You know, I'll pretty much eat anything. I mean, I'm not picky at all. Canned tuna is great. You know, ramen is something, you know, it's not, there's really not much nutritional value in ramen. It has a decent shelf life, but, I mean, it'll fill you up if you're starving. I mean, that's why I don't have a lot of it. Because honestly, if you're running around all day, it's not very nutritious. And I just got other things like, you know, some chicken noodle soup, stuff that you could do with like a pot mix in. Like where you just dump, you know, 5-6 cans of soup in for everybody, and you mix it up like I don't know, a bunch of different mixed crap, pretty much. That's what the soup's for. Ravioli, beef ravioli, this stuff tends to have, you know, see if you can look on it here, you know, some vitamin A and stuff like that, and which is good. This is just in some fruit too. I mean, this is just a really basic, really small scale food supply that, you know, you'll look at other prep, like people who actually prep, like are serious about it. It's like their main hobby. This is just like nothing compared to what some people have. And then just, you know, a little bit of water. I mean, I know, this is not a lot of water. This is just, you know, like 3 liters per day, that's 6 bottles per person per day, so there's 24 in a pack. So that would last you 1, 2, 3, 4. One of those would last one person 4 days. So, I mean, 4, 8, 12. If it was one person, this would just last you 12 days. And that's 3 liters of water per day. So, I mean, if you got more people, I mean, you need to have 15, 20, 30 things of water. I mean, the water is the most important. I know I don't have as much water as I do food, but, water's cheap. When I get some more money, I'm probably going to buy more of it. You can also get those big 5-gallon jugs, but, those aren't really practical. And like I said, that's just water for drinking. That's nothing else. Other things that are good to have, obviously, have your cold weather gear and your survival gear, whatever you have, have it organized. So, like let's say the power goes out and you decide to bug in. Obviously, you want to have that stuff, where you can access it, so you can change out of your clothes. It's always a good idea to be relatively organized. I know, anybody who looks at my gunsmithing bench up here is like, you're looking at the tools, you're like, no, that's not organized. It's not. This is a gunsmithing bench. I should keep it organized with the tools, but they're just kind of slopped up there. Another thing, for bugging in is obviously, your firearms. Because, obviously if you decide to bug in a natural disaster or some type of a man-made situation, obviously you are going to have people trying to break into your house after maybe a week or a few days for food and whatever else. You're going to need to be able to protect your house. If you don't have adequate weapons, for sure, bug out. Don't even try to stay. It's always a good idea to have a decent supply of ammunition. I mean, I have, 15, 20,000 rounds, what have you, just in this here. Ammo is a great thing to have. I mean, you can, obviously, it lasts forever. Well, not forever, it'll last, if you keep it stored properly. Dry, no humidity, cooler temperatures, it'll last a decent while, like 60, 50 years. But yeah, ammo is obviously important. Then you got your firearms. You want to have for bug-in, you want to have a good firearm that you're proficient with. A good AR or, an AK or a FAL or whatever you have. Even a Ruger 1022. Now, a 1022 is, if you only could have one weapon, you'd want to be able to carry, more ammo. If it was either, I'm going to bring the 1022 and, 20,000 rounds of ammo, or I'm going to bring the FAL and 2,000 rounds of ammo. It's going to be the 1022. That's just 22 ammo over there. I don't have the 22 out, so I couldn't really show you. But yeah, the 22 is a perfect weapon for, multiple purposes. And yeah, I mean, it's not, a big game gun, but I mean, it will, if you hit a deer in the right spot, knock it out. Obviously, you're going to want a handgun as well, like I just have my carry gun. The shotgun's good for home defense as well. I mean, but basically the biggest thing you're going to have if you bug in, as far as I can tell, is you're going to have, people trying to break into your house, wanting your crap, wanting your guns, especially if they know you have guns, or if they know you have a lot of food. You don't really want to be advertising to people you don't know, that you have, a whole stockpile of crap, because in a disaster situation, they might just, they might have pretended they were your friend then, but they might just, not be your friend when they get hungry. But yeah, obviously, flashlight, you're going to want that. Lantern, I'm a big fan of these kerosene lanterns. These are really low tech. They've been around for almost 200 years. But honestly, those are great. You can burn multiple types of fuel in them. I mean, they'll light a room. I mean, they're not going to be as bright as like an LED or a fluorescent, but, obviously a time would come, when you'd run out of batteries, and you'd need something you can burn like lard or whatever else. I haven't tried lard in there yet, but I'm sure they're pretty much, I'm sure you can burn certain types of vegetable oils and shit in those, that would, be a little bit better than batteries, so you wouldn't waste all your batteries, or if you ran out of batteries. And it's always a good idea to have, like, a small, I mean, I don't have a massive supply of batteries, just a bunch up there, down there. Not a whole lot, nothing too extreme. But, having a few flashlights is a good idea. you know, obviously with flashlights you'd want to conserve them and not use them unless you had to because of the batteries again. Batteries have become a very hot commodity in a disaster situation. You know, for those of you who like to entertain yourself or whatever, if you like writing, have a typewriter, or, you know, keeping logs on stuff, or organizing, you know, like making a spreadsheet for how much food you have for rationing. Typewriter is a great thing to have, and that's just a little portable typewriter from the 50s. You know, when if the power ever goes out, you're not going to have a, you know, Microsoft Word, so, you know, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's about what I do for the bug-in situation, as far as, you know, like what I would recommend to have. And again, obviously, there's no such thing as too much ammo or too much food or too much water. You can never have enough of that. Alright, now I'm going to go over the, it's already 11 minutes, but we're just going to keep going. I'm going to go the bug out, for bugging out. What I would, you know, take with, what I would, you know, recommend. You know, obviously there's several opinions out there, and there's people out there who are really, really hardcore preppers who know more about, you know, prepping and bugging in and bugging out than I do, because it's their whole life. For my bug out, this is with the truck, I would have, you know, my AR-15, my AK, my 22, all the ammunition you see here, all the food, all the water, winter clothes, and some more clothes. Probably, like I said, the AR, one of my AR-15, the AK, a few pistols, a few Glocks, XDM, you know, stuff like that. I'd bring some Mosin Nagants with, because I have a lot of 7.6254R. You know, the Mosin Nagants, you know, a lot of people don't really think about those as a bug out gun, but in all the reality, I mean, it's a heavy caliber. It'll take down big game. I mean, and if you have, you know, like a couple thousand rounds of ammo laying around for it, it's a bolt-action rifle. It will take quite a while to go through a couple thousand rounds of ammo versus, you know, you have an AK or an AR and you have a couple thousand rounds of ammo. You go through that a lot quicker. But yeah, I would probably bring about, you know, 10 different guns with. There's a lot of guns I would choose not to bring with, you know, like guns that ammunition's hard to find, like your Swiss K31, your Moss 36, your Lee Enfields. But as far as, you know, that stuff goes, I'd also bring, you know, like a cleaning kit with, obviously, to clean the guns. Food, water, clothes. Now, a lot of people are probably going to comment in this video being like, that is way too much space. That's way too much space for guns and ammunition. Like, literally would take all the ammunition with for the calibers that I would bring with. Now, the reason for that is because you can hunt and you can get food. Like I said, you'd have food, everything, and all this would fit in a truck. But you want to bring all your ammunition with, and, you know, you're decent. You don't want to just bring one gun, because if you have other people, you know, in your group, you're going to want to train them, have them be armed. And, you know, ammunition in a natural disaster or a man-made disaster situation is going to be gold. It's going to be a very hot commodity. That it's going to be, when I say hot commodity, I don't mean to trade it. I would never trade ammo. But it's going to be something that's going to be impossible to find, impossible to acquire. So if you have a bunch of ammo, in my mind, is the most important, you know, right after food and water. Again, you're going to want to bring a gun. You know, you're going to want to bring a primary rifle that's really durable. And honestly, if it was AK or AR, I would lean towards the AR or the AK. I mean, sure, the piston ARs are really reliable. Like, this is a SIG 516. It's very reliable. But in the end, I mean, it's still, you know, it's still an aluminum gun. I mean, it's a gun that, you know, if you fuck around with it enough, or if it gets fucked, I mean, if it gets fucked around enough, there is a possibility it could break. AK is stamped steel, wood. I would definitely go with an AK, in my personal opinion, and the fact that the AK is very reliable, never jams, never breaks. But the piston ARs are a fantastic option if you're going to go with an AR. The AR is a very ergonomic weapon system, very lightweight. But yeah, I would also recommend, you know, with the bug out for the vehicle, obviously having a sufficient number of magazines for your guns. And obviously, you know, keep your weapon system light. I mean, you see these people with, you know, like a fucking scope, a PQ box, a laser, a flashlight, a vertical bipod foregrip, then another bipod, and then a magnifier. It's like, that's just fucking stupid. Honestly, it's just stupid. You're just making your gun look like a piece of crap, and everybody laughs at you. Then you post the picture on the internet. What I would recommend, obviously, if you're just not going to do just iron sights, for this gun, I'm going to get an egg hog, a foregrip. Well, the foregrip's already on there. I might get a grip pod, a different grip pod. It'll be like this here, except it's the crappy one. I'm going to get a really good one with steel legs or aluminum legs. I don't know yet what I want to get. But egg hog, grip pod, small flashlight with a push button. That's all I'm going to have mine on. So it's not too heavy, it's not too bulky, you know, it's just right. You know, the reason I say the grip pod is because, you know, if you're hunting, it's nice to have a, you know, a stable position if you're shooting prone. And I just like grip pods because they got the bigger grip profile, and I like the wider grip. And then a small flashlight on the front, probably a Surefire weapon light. I mean, that you can run in about $200-300, but you know, it's fine. It's my good AR-15, so I'm willing to put some money into it. And then an egg hog with, you know, like a 3.5 or 4 times zoom. That's all you need. You don't need a PQ box. A laser on a fucking AR-15 is stupid. There's no need for a laser on an AR-15 or 2 different flashlights. And come on. All right. As far as like the bug out, now we're gonna go over the bug out with the walking pack. Obviously, with the walking, I would probably opt for just for the weight reduction. If you're gonna have to carry a whole bunch of food, you bring, you know, 3 days food, 3 days water, some clothes. I'd bring, you know, probably go with the AR-15 because you carry more ammo. Carry as much ammo as I possibly could, my sidearm, and that would pretty much be the bug out bag or the bug out kit for walking. Obviously, with walking, you're gonna have to give up quite a bit of shit. But, you know, if it's either you stay in your house and you die because of looters, or you bug out and you walk, obviously you're not going to be able to bring everything. You're going to have to, you know, cut some things out of the package, like 20,000 rounds of ammo. You're not going to be able to bring that with. But yeah, that's my kit. Oh, obviously, as mentioned before, I did not mention in the bug out for the truck or the walking, you're going to want a flashlight. Maybe some spare batteries for the bug out with the truck, lanterns, just as much light as you can bring. And if you can bring a generator with, too, I mean, if you have room for that, but that is not a necessity. Because, honestly, I can live without electricity if we don't have it. You just got to have your skills to know how to make fire, all that other crap. But, yeah, you guys got any comments, questions, feel free to send me a message. Spartan765 out.